What's up, everybody? Welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover murder, mystery to the missing. Happy Friday. If you can hear me okay, please put a 1 in the chat. I have to ask that because the day that I don't, then there's something wrong with the mic. So good to see everybody here. As always, before we get started, we always like to give back by featuring the missing. So I'm just going to wait for see some ones in the chat before I get going. Okay, we got one in there. Thank you, thank you so much, 63 clocks. All right. So today's missing, we have Tanya Whip. Tanya last spoke to her family on May 26. So about 2 months ago. Disappeared out of Auburndale, Florida. They are going to be doing a search party, and that is, I'm just kind of looking at this. I like this graphic they put together. It's very colorful. So it looks like they're going to be doing a search party, and that's going to start on Sunday, July 23rd. So that is going to be this weekend, this coming Sunday. Anybody that's out that way, it starts at 8:30. The address is at the top, 111 West Bridgers Ave, and that's in Auburndale, Florida. Tanya went missing 2 months ago. Search party this Sunday. So, and the details are down here. You can call 516-253-0610. And then we've got one more. We've got Bradford. I don't know his full name. He went missing on Sunday, so I think that was the 15th or 16th, just like 5 days ago. Missing out of Boise, Idaho. Just looking at the notes here. He was known to drive a 2022 gray Ford Escape with Idaho license plate 6B1086. If you have any information, you can call 208-377-6790. Went missing last week, this last Sunday, in Boise, Idaho. It doesn't say exactly where in this, and I couldn't find anything. There's not a lot on this, but someone requested it, so I wanted to get it out there. So, all right. Okay, how's that? Is that good? Mic is low. How about that? Is that better? Okay, so of course we're going to be covering the latest details of the Gilgo 4. I thought we'd start with breaking down the Gilgo 4, the victims. Of course, we'll break down Rex Heuermann, and then we'll go over all the latest details that are coming out. And there's some very interesting details. There's been some interviews with the neighbors, one in particular that is really just out there. So let's just go over a little bit about Rex, just the basics. And let me move this over just a bit. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so here we got Rex Heuermann, 59 years old, 6'4", I think it's 285 pounds. Worked as an architect who had an office in Midtown Manhattan. And that is going to be a key word, Midtown Manhattan, when we look up when we get into the victims. Because this is one of the things that helped kind of find this guy, because he was using burner phones, and they were a lot of them were around Midtown Manhattan where his office was. Rex does have a family. He has a wife who has served him divorce papers. They also have 2 kids, and I think both of them are adults. He lived in a home in Massapequa Park with his wife. I don't think the kids were living there, but I'm not 100% sure. Also owns property in South Carolina where his brother lives, and that's where they have been recently going to, and well, his house as well, but they also took his Avalanche, and they also went back there again to take some other things, and I've got the video on that, so kind of interested. He also owns property in Las Vegas, so they were kind of saying in the news he's kind of got this double life. And then he was arrested on July 13th, charged with first degree, 3 counts of first degree, and 3 counts of second degree. I think it's, first and second. And he's only being charged 3 out of the 4 women, although they do believe he is involved with all 4. So here we'll go with the timeline. And so out of the Gilgo 4, because I know there's other women that started before this, but just as far as the Gilgo 4, this would be the order it would go in. And so this is Maureen Barnes. She was 25 years old. She was last seen on July 9th of 2007. So here's just kind of the highlights of it. So Barnes' cell phone was contacted by a burner phone, which will be a common thing with all the girls, as a new burner phone. And so between July 6th and July 9th, there was 16 interactions between her phone and this burner phone. And on July 9th, Maureen's cell phone pinged for the last time at approximately 11:56 in Midtown Manhattan. Remember how I said, keyword, remember, Midtown Manhattan, because that's something that just repeats through all of these. So her last phone ping was at 11:56 in Midtown Manhattan, and if you remember, Rex has got his office down there, and that was near 59th Street Bridge. She was last seen on July 9th. Her phone would be used on July 12th, where 2 calls were made to check her voicemail, and the ping was coming from Long Island Expressway in Islandia. Is that how you pronounce it? Islandia? I'm assuming Islandia or Islandia. Or Islandia. Is that Islandia like island or Islandia? Does it have an is? Let me know in the chat. So that's for Maureen. Then the second victim out of these 4, we have Melissa Bartholomew. She was 24 years old, last seen on July 10th, 2009. Just checking the chat here. So on July 3rd, 2009, Melissa was contacted by a burner phone, and this would be a new burner phone, and would have contact with the same number on July 6th, 9th, and July 10th, which was the last day she was seen alive. On July 10th, the burner phone traveled to Massapequa Park. Now, that is where Rex has his main home, is in Massapequa Park. And her phone traveled from Massapequa Park, so it pinged there, and then it pinged in Midtown Manhattan. So once again, it pinged from where Rex's home is at, and then pinged where his office was at. And I'm assuming she was sadly probably dead, and he just had her phone on her, because that seems to be the common thing is after, sadly, after the homicide, then he keeps her phone, and then we're going to talk about what happens next. So later that evening, her phone traveled from Midtown Manhattan back to Massapequa. So from the office back to Rex's home, with one ping at 1:43 a.m. July 11th. Her phone was used to check her voicemail. The phone pings come from Freeport, and on July 11th and 12th, the same thing happened while her phone was pinging in Babylon. And Babylon's kind of close around in that area, and we'll look at Google Map and everything and kind of put it all together. But yeah, it seems to be a common thing. A new burner phone number for each victim. And these phones would ping somewhere around Massapequa Park, or a lot of the time it's Midtown Manhattan where his office was at. And This one's really just disgusting. So with her phone, he kept her phone for quite a bit. So Rex, so obviously she went missing and was sadly killed on July 10th or July 11th. But he would keep her phone, and on July 17th, the 23rd, and August 5th, 19th, and 26th. So 1, 2, 5 phone calls in a span of about a little over a month. He would call Melissa's family members, making taunting phone calls where he admitted to SA and killing Melissa. So absolutely terrible. And he did this, according to this, 5 times. And during some of these, Melissa's phone was pinging in Midtown Manhattan when these calls were made. So once again, the victim's phone is pinging near Rex's office. And then I got the notes. So during this time, Rex's wife was out of town between July 8th, 2009, and wouldn't be back until August 18th, 2009. She was in Iceland. Let me get to chat real quick here. Just a minute here. Islandia. Oh, there you go. That sounds better. Oh, so the S is silent. Islandia. Oh, that's easier. That's much easier. Okay, thank you guys. Islandia. Awesome. Oh, and then there's Rottweilers. Islandia, love your work, Chris. Thank you so much, Meg. Thank you so much for the $10. You are so awesome. So here is just some of the pings. And so, and it's showing the distance from his office, I believe. Let me just double check this here. I believe, yeah, if I can look up. So yeah, this is just kind of showing the different pings when he was calling on all those different days, and they're all just within, 3,000, 2,000 feet from his office there in Midtown Manhattan. Get me caught up in chat. Okay, Islandia. Then we have victim number 3 out of the 4 of the Gilgo 4. We've got Megan Waterman, just 22 years old. She was last seen June 6, 2010. Yeah, she was 2009. So, so a day before that, on June 5th, 2010, and this was a big one. Let's see, was it this one? Oh no, it's the next one. Okay, never mind on that one. But on June 5th, 2010, was contacted by a burner cell phone, another brand new burner cell phone that had just been activated that day. She was then contacted again the next day, early morning at 1:31 a.m., June 6th. Megan was last seen alive, so she's the one that was at that Holiday Inn in New York on June 6, 2010, at approximately 1:30 a.m. was the last time she was seen. She was caught on camera leaving the hotel. Afterwards, that burner cell phone was never used again. Then, just like all the others, Megan's cell phone would ping in Massapequa Park, which is obviously in the area of where Rex's home is at, which was the last activity at approximately 3:11 a.m. in the vicinity of Rex H's residence. And then we got victim number 4. And so we've got Amber Castillo, 27 years old, last seen leaving home on September 2nd, 2010. Megan was receiving calls from a burner phone that was bouncing off Massapequa Park and the West Amityville Towers. Oh, that's where I saw Amityville. Okay, this was driving me nuts. There was something in a news report that I just watched before I started the show, and they mentioned something about Amityville, which is down there in close to where the bodies were found. And I'm like, gosh, I know I heard Amityville when I was putting this together, so I got to remember that. That's associated with Amber. Okay. So, all right, going back to this. So, Castillo did a ruse where she actually took Rex's money on September 1st. So, Rex texted that. So, I guess Rex showed up. I don't know, at a house. I don't know if it was her house. But I guess Amber had a guy friend come over just as Rex was coming over to pretend to be like a boyfriend, a jealous boyfriend. And so she took Rex's money, but then there was this altercation that was actually just a ruse. And Rex ended up leaving, and she ended up keeping the money. And then so Rex texted her later that night, I believe, saying, "That was not nice. Do I get credit for next time?" During this text, the burner phone that was used was pinging in Massapequa Park. During the ruse, and this is a big one, during that ruse, that witness that was helping Amber saw Rex with the first generation Avalanche and described his height as 6'4", dark bushy hair, 1970s oval glasses. I'm assuming that's possibly where the ogre description came from. So, but sadly, they would connect the next day. So Rex told Amber that he did not want to come into the house because of what happened last time. On September 2nd. The messages that were being sent from the burner phone came from Midtown Manhattan and then Massapequa Park. So it sounds like he was texting her from his work and then texting her as he was getting close to his home. And then on that same day, September 2nd, Amber left her cell phone behind, sadly, walked out of her home in the late evening. A witness saw her walk one way and then didn't actually see her get in a vehicle, but then saw a dark colored truck, which was most likely the dark green Avalanche. And this is the only time, since obviously she didn't bring her phone, unlike the previous three, there would have probably been the same thing where he might have been either checking the voicemails on that phone and or maybe even calling the family members to taunt them. And this time as well, Rex's wife was out of town between August 28th and September 5th, where she was in New Jersey. And then as far as their bodies being found, they were all kind of found really in a 2-day period. They found one body one day and then the other three the next day, and that was all in December of 2010 as far as the Gilgo 4 go. Let's see here. Julie says, Toronto, Canada, Chris, safe travels, and will always support one of my favorite channels. Thank you so much, Julie. Sorry, I have to look in because part of it gets cut off, so I have to kind of lean in. Thank you so much. Please show Julie some love in the chat. Okay, let me get that cleared. I feel Shannon is the linchpin to. Yeah, I would use the word catalyst. Yeah, Shannon Gilbert, who it's reported that her death was not a homicide, but a lot of people believe that it could be connected, and it's possible. But yeah, I totally agree. It was definitely the catalyst because they were looking for her and stumbled across the Gilgo 4. Let's see here. Did that pop up right? There we go. The White Bulldog. I love that name. Thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. You are so awesome. Please show the White Bulldog some love in the chat. Cash tag for Cash App not found. I'll have to look into that. It should be working. Okay, so here is just a couple of shots, and then we're going to get into the race, more recent news. So here is where they did a search warrant, and they found that he had a Tinder account, and he also had a bunch of fictitious email accounts that he used, and also burner cell phones that were connected. Some were connected to this Tinder. And then here is a picture of him going into, I think it's, are they saying here? I want to say it's like a T-Mobile. I'm sure we could break it down. But here's Rex here. And here's him. And this is May 19th. So this is wild. So this is May 19th, 2023. So this is this year, literally just 2 months ago. It's kind of wild. So he's still at it with the burner phones. And here's some other pictures. Let's see. This looks like a T-Mobile store. It's got the colors of it. So May 19th, so just almost spot on 2 years ago, was in a cell phone store buying minutes for his latest burner phone, where you can actually see him paying cash. So, don't want to leave that, expense digital trail. So, that's kind of interesting there. Those selfies, I know, it's cringe. What a monster. And then just to highlight one of the many things that kind of helped catch Rex Heuermann is they were able to match some hair DNA that was found on one of the victims, which was Waterman. They found his hair along with his wife's hair, although his wife was not involved, just because hair can transfer, especially man and wife, and so somehow his hair and his wife's hair got on the victims, Waterman. And then they took DNA from a pizza crust, and they were able to match it to Rex Heuermann. So these two girls are not part of the Gilgo 4, but were found close by. And this is what's interesting. So we've got Jessica Taylor. Now these two girls were... So there was 3 victims before the Gilgo 4. We have Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack, and then we have one in 1997, which is, I believe, is the Jane Doe. I'll have to double check on that. I believe it's the Jane Doe. But this would be technically, if they were all related, this would be victim 2 and 3, Jessica and Valerie. Now this is what's interesting, is... Like I said, they were killed before the Gilgo 4. And so Jessica Taylor, she went missing in New York City in July of 2003. Her partial remains were recovered on July 26 in 2003 in Manorville, New York. Now we're going to look, for those that are not familiar with New York, we're going to look at all these towns. And Manorville is real close to where some of the phone pings from Rex. It's really interesting. And here we got Valerie Mack, and she was actually before Jessica, so it actually go Valerie number 2 and then Jessica number 3. So Valerie, who was 24 years old, from Port Republic, New Jersey, was last seen in spring of 2000. She was actually once known as Jane Doe number 6, so that means she was the 6th body to be found. Her partial remains, just like Jessica, So not all of her remains, but partial remains were discovered in Manorville, New York in November 2000. And then the rest were found on Gilgo Beach, just like Jessica. So really interesting. And if we just look at the map here, okay, zoom in here. So here, just kind of orient ourselves here. We've got where the victims, were found. Gilgo Beach, Long Island Beach here. We've got Rex Heuermann's home right here. And as you notice, we've got North Amityville right here. And Amityville is just close by. So very interesting. Okay, so that's where Amityville is at. Okay, because they mentioned something in this latest news article, and I'm like, I got to go back to that. So anyway, so going back to one of the victims, actually two of them. So here we've got one of the victims where they lived approximately, where they were last seen. And this is Waterman. And as you can see, she was, let's see, let me go back to okay, so there's Waterman. Oh, that's right. She was leaving the hotel. Okay, so this is the Holiday Inn. So she was leaving the Holiday Inn that's close to this Long Island Expressway. And what's interesting, and so he obviously would have picked her up. And you have Barnes, the other victim, where her voicemail was checked. And that was in Islandia. And that was off. All they say is that, because there's not an exact coordinate, but they say that it was along the Long Island Expressway in Islandia. So that's very interesting. So that kind of puts it, somewhere in this area where her phone was being used to check her voicemails. And then if we back out just a little bit, not too far away is where we have Manorville, which is along the Long Island Expressway. So here's Manorville. And so to me, that if any other victims were connected as far as those the Long Island victims, those two victims for sure would be at the top of my list. Let me know what you think in chat, but kind of interesting there. Okay, so let's get to the latest articles, news reports.
For a decade. Numerous law enforcement sources and neighbors say the man in custody is Rex Heuermann. The arrest coming in the early morning hours. The Suffolk DA is expected to announce Heuermann to several of the bodies found over the 10 years discovered in that Gilgo Beach area. They're looking to see if he is linked to some of the bodies that were found wrapped in tarps. Heuermann works as an architect, and police just a short time ago were seen in Midtown Manhattan searching his offices at 5th Avenue and 36th Street. For years, police have been looking into whether the suspect lived on Long Island and worked in Manhattan, commuting through Penn Station. A cell phone ping from Penn Station area, also part of the evidence.
Living adjacent to Rex's property. Steve, thanks for being live with me tonight. Can you tell me what kind of police and FBI activity you've seen down in your neighborhood where Craig and Rex have property?
Okay, let me just give you guys a little context real quick here before we jump into this. So I'm sure most of you, if you follow this case, you know what's going on, but for those that may not. So you have the main home in Massapequa, which is here. But you also have another property that he owns, and that is in South Carolina. Let me back that out here. And that is right here. And so his brother lives there, and then apparently he was going to retire. I don't know if it was this year or going to be next year, but it was said that he was going to be retiring, and that there's a piece of property that's, they said, across the street, so it could be something here, but there's this property here. Anyway, they've been going to this property recently, and they took a vehicle away, and then they went back and took some other stuff away. So this is what they're talking about in this news clip.
It's nice to be here. The raid actually happened here on Friday morning around 10 o'clock. I saw a couple of undercover cars sitting in the neighborhood. And then around, that was early that morning, probably about 7 o'clock. Later on, I saw multiple cars around 10 a.m. down there at Craig's house. And probably within 30 seconds, by the time I was getting ready to leave, I was fixing to take my boat back to the lake. And I saw a flatbed truck pulling away, and they had come right by my house. And they actually had the truck, the green Avalanche of Craig, on the back of it. It wasn't covered, so I could clearly see it. Since then, they were there maybe another 30 minutes, and they cleared out pretty fast. I saw Craig leave yesterday afternoon, and then probably within a couple hours later, two guys showed up in a couple of white pickup trucks, and they jumped out. And I actually saw some of the pictures from one of the local photographers. He had a better shot at it. That they had opened the gate, backed in, and then picked up something like a leather satchel or something like you might see a college professor or a high school teacher. They passed that off, and maybe it looked like another bag. They closed the gate. They were probably there about 10 more minutes, and then they just kind of drove away. I do know the photographer asked him, are you friends of the family or whatever you're doing? And the guy said, go away. And he said, are you police? And, he kind of, took a picture of him taking a picture. So they sort of had a standoff there for a second. And then they closed the gate, got what they were going to get, and then they just politely drove off. And outside of that, it's been kind of quiet as far as law enforcement.
Elizabeth, new details are emerging about this secret double life. Rex Heuermann.
Lolly says, Hi, love to finally catch a live. Love your channel. Thank you so much. Lolly's all the way. Really appreciate that. So that was his brother's property, Craig, who the last time Wednesday, we kind of talked about some articles that were coming out about his brother and some of the neighbors' reactions. And the one that sticks out is one of the neighbors claimed that he was mowing his yard, not Craig's yard, but he was mowing his own yard on a Sunday. And apparently Craig, the brother to Rex, came out and hit him over the head with a steel pole. And so I guess Craig doesn't like it when you mow the lawn on Sundays. I guess Sunday is a quiet day. I don't know. There's been a couple of weird stories about that neighbor, about Craig.
Hid from his family. And while the crimes may have originated right here in Long Island, we're seeing this investigation now span across this entire country. This evening, new revelations are coming to light of the personal life of accused Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann. His longtime next-door neighbor, Etienne Devier, inviting News Nation into his backyard and sharing a number of unsettling encounters he had when the 6'4", 250-pound accused killer peeked over the fence as his wife sunbathed.
At first, I thought, he's just trying to be neighborly. And then after it kept happening every time she went out there like that, then finally it started to creep her out. And she felt uncomfortable, and I had to do something about it.
As portraits of battered women and life-size dolls kept in glass boxes are pulled from his Long Island home, investigators across the country continue to comb for clues. In nearby Amityville, New York, detectives cleaned out a storage.
That's where Amityville. That's why I wrote down Amityville. Okay. Amityville's got the storage unit. Oh my goodness. Okay, that makes so much sense. That's why he was pinging in Amityville that one time. All right, Amityville storage unit. Okay, I gotta write that down. Storage unit, Amityville. Okay, because that was driving me nuts, because I was putting this video together and I saw Amityville, because obviously Amityville is such a well-known word, you associate it with Amityville Horror Story, But yeah, I was just putting everything together for you guys today, and I put this video first, and then I put all the victims, chronologically, and just some of the highlights, just the timeline of them. And I came across Amityville in one of them, and I'm like, oh, where did I hear that? So, yeah.
Space tied to Heuermann. Police were seen carrying large boxes of confiscated goods into their evidence trucks. More than 700 miles away, the Chester County Sheriff's Office helped the New York State Police comb through 22 acres of land owned by Heuermann. Authorities would ultimately tow a Chevy truck off-site, presumably the exact same truck police used to link Heuermann to the Gilgo Beach crimes. And now, more than 2,000 miles from South Carolina, Las Vegas, Nevada, where Heuermann owns a condo. Police there tell News Nation they're reviewing cold cases to see if there's any possibility Heuermann is involved. Back on Long Island, the accused killer is in an isolated cell on suicide watch. Sheriff Errol Toulon tells me he rests in bed and doesn't make a fuss. He has a TV, but doesn't watch it or ask to see the newspaper.
It just seems like at this point he's just in his cell by himself, I guess reflecting or just sleeping until his court date on August 1st.
And at this point, the sheriff tells me that Heuermann is all alone in that cell. He has had no visitors. His family has not stopped by to see him. He tells me that there are possibly threats coming from other inmates, so his deputy's job from this point on is to protect him from those people as well as from himself until that court hearing on August 1st. I got new...
August 1st. I'm going to write that down. I got to read this comment. Medical examiner was at the storage unit? Do we know that for sure? That would be crazy. August 1st. First court. Okay, court. Okay, interesting. I'll have to look that up. Very interesting. Okay, so this next piece, this one's big. This Chris Cuomo interview. So this is an interview with the neighbor that's lived next door to Rex Heuermann in Massapequa Park. And I guess this neighbor's lived there for a long time because he talks about when he was a teenager, a kid, which, yeah, it's a wild interview.
Developments for you in the Gilgo Beach murder investigation. The footprint of the investigation has expanded from Long Island, New York, to South Carolina, then Las Vegas. Why? Because the suspect owned or had access to properties there. Now, we hear the investigation also includes Atlantic City, New Jersey. Why there? And is his home in Long Island now considered the scene of at least one of the crimes? That takes us to what we heard last night, which we'll pick up with an official who's involved in the investigation, because we got a big clue about that right here on this show last night that the police didn't know about yet. Hopefully they've circled back to our guest and got that information. Now, the neighbors also have information in situations like this. They very often say, gee, I never knew. I thought he was such a nice guy. We always hear that. You're not going to hear that from this neighbor. Dominic Cancelleri lived next to Heuermann for 15 years and has some very definite things to say that are different than we've heard from other neighbors. Joins us now. Dom, thank you.
Hi, Chris. How you doing today?
So you're saying the idea that would have never pegged him for a bad guy doesn't wash with you?
No, not at all. Actually, I heard a couple interviews with some of the neighbors saying he was a family man. He was, he was a normal guy. Not the case at all from what I've heard from living next door to him.
Now, stuff that you just dismissed at the time as being like eccentric behavior or whatever now takes on a new context. I want to highlight some of the things. First, you said that, when you were out, you'd come home, it could be like the middle of the night, and you would see this guy active in different ways. How so?
So sometimes I would come home around 1, 2 in the morning, and I would park my car in front of the house, and I would see his car running, and the lights were on. And he never got out of the car first. Every time I would see that, I would always go inside my house first. So I never actually saw him get out of the car, but it was running, the lights were on, and I always thought that was very suspicious.
And he would be active at night. You would see lights on. You remember one, now I'm sure, pretty freaky situation in the backyard. What was it?
Yeah, so when I was around 18 or 19 years old, I was watching TV in my basement. Went outside. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning, same times that I saw him, park his car in front of his house and leave it idle. But when I was 18, 19 years old, I heard digging in the backyard next door. Now, I really wanted to go and check out what it was and look through the fence. The fence had little fake grass on it, but something stopped myself from doing it. I was nervous. I wasn't too sure what I was hearing at the time. But now with everything coming to fruition, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest bit.
Now, you said that you didn't really talk to him much, but
And he's got another bombshell if you haven't heard this one. But God, that's crazy. Digging. I wish I would know how old this guy is. He said he lived there for 15 years. And he was 18 and 19. I'll have to do some math after the show. But, man, this guy could have a rap sheet, this Rex Heuermann. Yeah, I just wanted to read this comment. Yep, at one of them, only one reason to have medical examiner present. Yeah, exactly. At the storage unit. That is wild. We'll have to look that up. I've got to see what's going on with that. Fun and Funky, thank you for being a member for 9 months. You are so awesome. Yeah, he's that last neighbor that was talking. Yeah, I guess Rex was a peeping Tom. Let me while I got it paused, because I got to pause a little bit when we're playing news clips. So I just wanted to look at this poll here because I haven't looked at it. So I asked you guys, do you think Rex is responsible for other homicides in other states? Example, South Carolina. And a whopping 82% say yes. Kind of a little surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, actually. And then 16% not sure and just 2% no. So most of you think this guy's got more, there's more victims, sadly. All right, let's see. Let me minimize that. All right, let's get back to this because this next part's wild.
you did have one incident that was over a parking space. What happened?
So he parked his truck in his driveway and then halfway into my spot. And, I went outside because this was happening a couple times. So I went out of my car and I said to him, I'm like, listen, you got to move your car. I'm trying to get in the spot. And he got a little loud. I got a little loud back with him. And he ended up finally moving his car. But, every instance, even just the way he looked, I always thought this guy was a weirdo, freak, and everything that's come up, the vile Google searches that he's had, this all makes sense to me now.
You also said that he used to burn garbage. That happens with leaves and stuff like that in some places, but you're saying not in your area. People don't burn their garbage.
No. He would burn his garbage, and I would smell it. And I would always wonder, I'm like, why is this guy burning his garbage again? But, it seemed to be like once every few weeks I would smell garbage burning at his house.
You never saw him bring women to the house?
No, I did not.
Yeah, burning garbage in his garage. I mean, that's strange. Not in the backyard, in the garage. That is so odd.
What were you thinking?
I would assume maybe evidence. I wouldn't think burning actual, not to get graphic, burning like body parts or anything. I would think burning evidence because I think you would have a really foul smell. But yeah, burning evidence. Happy Wife says, no burning trash or leaves on LI. Yeah, especially in the garage.
In the face of a guy who's 6'6", like 300 pounds, by the way, over a parking space.
I was just annoyed about the whole situation. It was going on a couple times, and I said to him, I was like, listen, you can't keep parking here, and I just never really liked the guy, to be honest with you. I always thought he was weird. There were times where I would grill him, just because I just didn't like him. And the only thing that I miscalculated about him was I really thought he was not the smartest of people. Obviously, he was very calculated, though.
So yeah, kind of wild. Yeah, burning evidence. I would agree, and yeah, and I mean, there's people that burn garbage, but usually it's if like you don't have the best garbage system, or you kind of like in certain areas they just have a pit and then they just burn it every once a month or something. So let's see. I gotta find that where that storage is at. Okay. Oh. Let's see. Oh, wow. Man, this was 4 days ago. Wow, how did I miss this one? Police are searching for body parts and other potential trophies at a Long Island storage locker linked to the accused Gilgo serial offender Rex Heuermann, authorities said Monday. Investigator executed a warrant at Omega. There we go. There's the name. Omega Self-Storage in Amityville. Storage. All right, sorry. Writing that down. Over the weekend, after scouring Heuermann's cluttered home in Massapequa Park, and are focusing on finding possible grisly remnants of killings. He's a monster, Harrison said. That's the police commissioner. He added that the suspect's home is a very cluttered house, saying Heuermann was like a pack rat. Interesting. Yeah, because I haven't seen any photos or anything of inside the house, just kind of some photos outside. Just talks about when he was. Let's see. Police investigating Gilgo Beach. So is this outside the storage facility? Oh, it is. So here's a picture. Here, I'm gonna snag this real quick. Oh. Here we go. Just taking some screenshots real quick here. Okay. All right. Got those. Talks about the timeline of all the girls. Anything down here? Cops have collected a mountain of evidence at Rex's house, including his Chevy Avalanche, a child-sized doll encased in wood and glass. That's so weird. A bookcase, a collection of rifles. Heuermann had 92 gun permits. Oh my god. I mean, I understand some people are, have guns and have a collection, but man, 300 guns? Woo. He had a cache of weapons inside the house. Man, it was like he was maybe anticipating like some kind of standoff and didn't want to be caught and was just going to go down. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I heard that last night or today. Billy Baldwin. Yeah, one of the Baldwin brothers went to school with him. Small world. Yeah, that's so crazy. And here's his, of course, his mugshot. Looks like he's kind of got that turtle vest, just like Brian Koberger had on. Let's see. Oh, there's more to this. Okay, I gotta watch my words here. Until cops started to collect bits of evidence. Okay. Oh, that's the picture of it. Oh, and there's the number. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, wow. I gotta take a screenshot. That's gotta be the house. Okay, let's look at these real quick. And then there's a couple more articles. I've got as well here. So, but I am curious to see these. So here's a picture. Now this is Craig's property. So obviously his brother's just about the same. Some kind of pack rat. Same thing here. So that's that South Carolina property. This is what we learned on Wednesday's show. I don't know if you guys, I think most of you guys know this if you were here, but this guy caused a scene, and then the next day put in all of his neighbors' mailboxes this business card with his name, and then under his name it says "bad mother effer," and then with a phone number. Just crazy. So there's the storage unit. There's them hauling something off. RH, Rex Heuermann, office books. And then this is at the house. And can't tell if this is just garbage that they collected. This looks more like garbage that they just collected that was scattered on the ground. The way this, let me know what you guys think. I think this is just stuff that was just scattered about the ground. Yeah, because there's a gumball machine right here. So, yeah, he must have been a pack rat. I'm assuming there's probably like a bunch of that stuff that's in this trailer that he got. So, wow. Isn't there a second storage unit? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I just know of the one right now, but boy, it wouldn't surprise me if he had two. I mean, the guy did have money. Okay, not that one. Let's see, which one was it? Okay, so I think we saw this. Neighbor of 15 years claims Rex Heuermann. So we did watch the interview of this one. Oh, and there's some more pictures. Oh, wow. So I hate Daily Mail because you can't like go full screen on these. And it looks like they are focused on like a shed or something in this. So this is the backyard. They've got, I'm assuming, 2 tents set up here, which they could be sifting through something. And you've got all these guys in suits focused on what looks to be like a little shed in the backyard. And there's that probably same crew that's getting is in the Tyvek suit. I think this is the picture of the place in South Carolina. I could be wrong. That's in front of the house. Roller skates. Wow. Another aerial view. So this shows where the suspect's house and the storage units, Amityville, Massapequa Park. Interesting. Yeah, let's just zoom in on that one picture I took. Let's see anything. Oh, yeah, I can see the door open. So, yeah, we've got a little shed here. This is the backyard. We've got this guy in the blue. I wonder if he's like a medical examiner because he's in a different... gosh, was going to possibly have Steve on, but Steve just got back from coming on the road. He's been on the road for a couple of weeks. We will have him on Monday. I wanted to give him a break because, like I said, he just got back, but he's just barely learning about all these crazy developments with, this guy here and then Portland and stuff. But it's kind of interesting. What do you guys think? You think that could be a medical examiner in the blue here? I would think. Interesting. So, anywho, let me check chat. Let me check the... So, I think this poll pretty much speaks for itself. It hasn't changed much, even though we almost have 300 votes. Still, 82%. You guys, most of you think he's definitely got... he's involved in other states or other victims. So, I'm going to go ahead and end that just to get that out of the way. Steve is probably fixing all this stuff. Ruckus broke. Uh-oh. That's not good. Oh, yeah, there was one more article. I don't know if this one's as exciting. So apparently... I guess Dennis Rader doesn't get enough attention, so I guess he compared himself to being a clone. Rex Heuermann is a clone of himself. I'm not going to read this entire article, but apparently BTK Dennis Rader says that Rex is a clone of me with nearly identical personal profile and technology-fueled downfall. I can see some of that because he's saying, I get that downfall when he's talking about downfall, because basically what caught Rader, or how Rader was caught, is he got cocky because he wanted to do this stuff where he was going to send all these cryptic things. He wanted to be like the next Zodiac, person. But then he ends up sending a CD. If you guys remember what those were. That you could copy, put songs onto and stuff. And he even asked the police before he sent this CD, he said, hey, if I send this to you guys, your tech team isn't going to be able to know what computer it came from or be able to track the data from it. And of course the cops and law enforcement are not going to tell him the truth, and so they said, no, there's no way we can track where this CD has been used on. And so he made them a CD and sent it, and then their tech team were able to figure out that it was used at a church, and pretty much caught BTK. So I get that, because it's kind of the same thing in a way, because here you've got Rex as the guy that's taunting people with phones. And really, it's not just taunting, it's just the phones itself, where he's got this habit of all these phones that are tracking between Massapequa and Midtown Manhattan. And so I can see that, and then part of the family man part thing. But anyway, I guess let's say anything else about that. No. So anyway. So let's recap. Let me check the chat here. And this show went a little bit faster than I was expecting to. I thought I had like a full, at least hour and a half, 2 hour show. Sometimes you kind of time it just right, and sometimes go a little bit faster. So I'm seeing some people saying, he had two He rented 2 storage units there. Oh, okay, so at the same place he had 2 storage units. Okay, I can see how that could get mixed up and people say, oh, he's got 2 storage units. I'm assuming that's how you're saying it. But I'm going to definitely look into that, especially the medical examiner. Yeah, let me look that up one more time. Oh. Why am I not seeing anything about medical examiner? Let's go to this one real quick. Oh, nope, that's not. No, let's. Gosh, what is that they're hauling out? Jeez. No, this doesn't really talk. Anyways, that's something I'll have to look up after the show. But let me recap everything here. Let's see. Looking at chat. And just, as always, thank you to everybody taking their time to watch this show. If you can, please hit the like button. So I'm just going to recap here what we talked about today. And basically, we kind of just went over the victims and the timeline and just kind of some of the similarities, obviously, that kind of, I'm sure law enforcement caught on to. But, you know, the timeline out of the 4 victims of the Gilgo 4, it starts with Marie Barnes, which sadly, you know, he's only being charged with 3 out of the 4. But I'm sure that gets the ball rolling, and maybe he makes a plea deal and he gives up all the rest or something, and that way they don't have to. I mean, it could be a couple scenarios, but with hers, she was last seen on July 9th, but on July 6th, between July 9th, she had contact with the burner phone, 16 interactions between her phone and a burner phone, and then on July 9th, Marine's cell phone pinged for the last time at 11:56 in Midtown Manhattan, near 59th Street Bridge, which is just right by his work. She was last seen on July 9th. Her phone would be used on July 12th, where 2 phone calls would be made to check her voicemail. And what's interesting is that this was coming from the Long Island Expressway in Islandia. Then we have the second victim, Melissa, and she, let's see, was last seen on July 10th, but she would actually have contact through another burner phone, and that was the 6th, 9th, and 10th. And then on July 10th, the burner phone traveled from Massapequa Park to Midtown Manhattan. So once again, from his home to his work. And later that evening, Melissa's phone traveled reverse order from his work back to Massapequa, with one ping at 1:43 on July 11th. And then same thing, her phone was used to check her voicemail after she went missing on July 11th and 12th. Let's see. And this one is the one where, sadly, he used her phone 5 times to taunt her family, telling him that he essayed and killed her, which is absolutely terrible. And during some of these phone calls, the phone was pinging in Midtown Manhattan, close to where his office was at. And here just shows some of the pings where the phone calls were coming from, and then I believe this is where his work is at. Then we have the next victim, victim number 3, June 5th, 2010, was contacted by a burner phone that had been activated that day. She was contacted again the next day on June 6th, which is the last day she was seen. She was seen alive at the Holiday Inn in New York. This is the one that we've seen on the video. She leaves at approximately 1:30. She's caught on camera leaving the hotel. Afterwards, the burner phone was never used again, but her phone would happen to be used in Massapequa Park at approximately 3:11 a.m. in the vicinity of Rex's home. And then our final victim number 4 out of the Gilgo 4, we have Amber Costello. She actually did a ruse where she actually took his money on September 1st. And then he came back the next day. Instead of wanting to meet up at the house, he wanted her to come out because he didn't want to go into the house like last time. And so, sadly, on September 2nd, she had left the house, but she forgot her phone. And so a witness saw her walk away from her house, and then moments later, they would see a truck drive by, which was a first-gen dark green truck, which would be the first-gen Avalanche that Rex drives. And then this is the witness that was part of the ruse was able to see Rex and describe the 6'4", dark bushy hair, 1970s, oval glasses, and the ogre look. We just talked about that. And then this is what's crazy. So even from 2021 and 2023, and just 2 months ago, this was taken just 2 months ago. It's crazy to think about. This is him going into a T-Mobile store. I'm assuming T-Mobile. It looks like T-Mobile. Where he's buying minutes for a burner phone. And here, he's paying cash. So, trying to stay low on the digital trail, on the digital footprint. We talked about that. And then, like I said, it's kind of interesting that Manorville, New York, where these were victims technically 2 and 3 out of the 10. We have victim 2, Valerie, victim 3, Jessica. And both of them, they had partial remains found in Manorville, New York, and then the rest were found on Gilgo Beach. But if we just kind of look at the map, it's just so wild that Manorville is just, it's not that far. Oops. Let me go down here. So it's not that far from the Long Island Expressway. This is just kind of approximate. And we have the Holiday Inn where Waterman had left, which is on near the the Long Island Expressway. And then there was a voicemail that was used to call Barnes's phone, the first victim, out of the Gilgo 4. That was in Islandia, and that was on Long Island Expressway. So, kind of a eerie coincidence. And yeah. So that's just kind of a... And then we watched some news clips about the neighbors, about him... his neighbors coming forward saying he was weird, burnt trash. One guy was talking about seeing him dig when he was 18, 19 years old. And that would make sense for, I'd have to kind of look at the math, maybe the 2000 Valerie Mack victim. So as far as updates, what's coming up, we're going to have... So we're going to have Steve back on Mondays now that he's back in town. So super excited for that. We've got a lot of great stuff that's going to be coming up. For those that are familiar with Steve from True Crime Web, we're going to be breaking down some crime scenes. So really excited for that. Really excited to get his insight on these cases here. And then for my members and Patreons, I've almost finished my part 2 of the gag reel, my bloopers. So that should be ready for tomorrow. And I'm going to have 2 versions, one for members of YouTube, and then my Patreons will have a different version. So you each get, because there are some people that are members on Patreon and YouTube. So I'm going to try to have 2 versions. So Sweet Dreams, thank you so much for the $5. Donations really help. Yes, I'm feeling better, and we will be going out and working some cold cases. Right now it's summer, it's really hot, but we're hoping maybe late August we're going to be going back out and working a couple cases. So and we could do that with your guys' support. So thank you guys so much. As always, you guys are so amazing. Thank you so much, Bulldog. Great show tonight, Chris. I think it would be interesting to follow the money back to see how RH paid for the date. I wonder if his business was covering for his personal expenses. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some kind of trail for sure. Thank you so much, Peggy. Sorry, I didn't miss anybody. Marie Foucher, hope I said that right. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super sticker. You are so sweet. Sweet Dreams. Oh, hitting that 8-month milestone. Thank you. Hope you're doing better. I am. Thank you so much. So we will have also a members live Sunday as well. So do we get everybody? Yes, we did. All right. We'll check. We did. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Oh, we got one more incoming in. Marie. Oh, thank you so much, Marie, for the $2.99 super sticker. Please show Marie some love. And just thank you to everybody for taking the time to watch the show. And have a wonderful weekend. And we will see you guys on Monday with Steve. So I'm going to go ahead and play the outro.